I would think it's a fantastic musical composition if I had played any part in making it. At 75 years of age, Robert Plant is already the all-time great when it comes to metal vocalists. It seems to reason that he ought to be revered as a god or monarch and regarded as a living legend. But the way he's living it right now is tragic. When you hear the name Robert Anthony Plant, you immediately think of a rock music legend. On August 20th, 1948, he entered this world. Robert C. Plant, a civil engineer, and Annie Celia, a housewife, welcomed him into their home in the predominantly black English town of West Bromwich. Plant, a stunning Romany woman, the parents' nurturing of their son brought forth the Robert Plant we know today, laying the framework for an iconic career that would forever alter the face of music. The first time Plant heard rock music, he was immediately captivated and decided to pursue a career in music. Rock and roll and singing became his obsessions. The magnetic presence of Elvis Presley, the rock and roll legend, sparked a fire of inspiration and devotion in him. In the Haley Green neighborhood of Halso in Worcestershire, where he spent his childhood, he discovered solace and motivation in the enchanting noises that permeated his home. There were other influences on Plant besides Elvis Presley. He aspired to be more than just a devoted follower. He aspired to be as good as, if not better than, Elvis Presley. After Robert Plant left his grammar school and joined the exciting Midlands scene in England, his life took a new path. He finally made up his mind to make a shift. Instead of becoming a trainee chartered accountant, he dove headfirst into the blues and discovered a whole new world of music. Williamson, Robert Johnson, Skip James, and Sleepy John Estes were some of Plant's musical influences. These factors molded his musical trajectory and sparked an innate desire in him to compose evocative melodies and wistful rhythms. Plant's early years as a music industry act were everything from smooth sailing. Lots of things were thrown at him and he had to overcome innumerable obstacles. At the tender age of 16, he was forced to leave his home by his parents, who failed to comprehend the depth of his devotion to music. He put himself in the shoes of an itinerant musician whose life's work was making music. He played in so many bands and perfected his craft that no one could ever duplicate his sound. Plant was never one to shy away from a challenge when it came to music, whether it was spreading tarmac on roads for construction in Birmingham or working for a short period at Woolworths in Hales Owentown. After all of Plant's efforts, Lady Luck finally smiled upon him, and his life took a turn for the better. Thus, she bestowed to him the chance to meet the drummer, which would alter the course of his life. Bowman John. They embarked on a fresh musical adventure together. Plant and the Yardbirds had a great run, but it was Plant's acceptance of an invitation to join the band that propelled him into rock and roll oblivion. Plant began a new chapter in his life when the Yardbirds became Led Zeppelin. This new chapter was characterized by musical inventiveness and unparalleled success. Plant enthralled audiences around the world as lead singer and lyricist of Led Zeppelin. The band's dominance of the genre from the late 1960s to the end of the 1970s was characterized by the creation of classic songs that would inspire generations to come. Plant is widely considered one of the all-time great rock vocalists due to his magnetic stage presence and incredible natural talent. His concerts after leaving Led Zeppelin, in which he collaborated with famous people like cemented his place in music history. The artistic progression of Plant captivated and inspired innumerable audiences, from the Grammy-winning album Raising Sand to the resuscitation of the Band of Joy. Everyone had to acknowledge his tremendous musical achievements. There was no other way. Consequently, Plant and Led Zeppelin's 1995 induction into the Rock Roll Hall of Fame was well-deserved, boasting accolades such as being crowned the best metal vocalist of all time by Hit Paradur and ranked among the top singers of all time by Rolling Stone. Following the tragic dissolution of Led Zeppelin in 1980, Robert Plant embarked on a prolific solo career that highlighted his skill and lasting impact on the rock music industry. The Honey Drippers were the first stop on Plant's solo trip. Notable musicians, including Jimmy Page, a former guitarist for Led Zeppelin, collaborated on it. Classic rock and roll songs were delivered on their debut EP, The Honey Drippers Volume 1, which included the most favorite and hit single, Sea of Love. With the release of Now and Zen, his second solo album in 1988, Plant officially left Led Zeppelin behind while keeping his distinctive voice intact. Because of this, Plant was once again recognized as a legendary solo artist. Plant proved to the world with Now and Zen that he can change with the times and still release hits. Plant embarked on fresh musical endeavors in the 90s, which included a reunion effort with Jimmy Page. The globe was blown away by the duo's live CD, 2 studio albums, and their electric connection on stage. Their 1998 Most High performance, which won them a Grammy, was just one more accomplishment that demonstrated Plant's importance in the dynamic music industry. In 2007, Plant continued to ride the wave of his fame and stunned everyone once again with his innovative album Raising Sand, which was a collaboration with bluegrass musician Alison Krauss. The record constituted art rather than merely music. It was nominated for and won the 2009 Grammy for Album of the Year for its seamless fusion of folk, rock, and country music. Please Read the Letter, which features Plant's evocative vocals, is just one example of how he could effortlessly incorporate his distinctive approach into any genre. Plant returned to his musical roots in 2010 with the resurrected Band of Joy, and in 2012 he founded the sensational Space Shifters, a new band that showcased his appetite for sonic exploration and once again enlarged Plant's palette. When Plant began fusing aspects of Middle Eastern instruments with African rhythms on the sensational Space Shifters, he dove headfirst into the universe of musical influences. He had not finished yet. Plant and Alison Krauss did not disappoint in 2019 as they reunited for a much-anticipated collaboration. Their comeback album, Raise the Roof, proved to everyone how much of a game-changer they could be. Billboard still ranked Plant as the 4th greatest rock lead singer of all time in 2023, and his induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Led Zeppelin in 1995 was a justifiable accomplishment given his lasting influence on the music world. How on earth can someone win so much? It's a valid question, I'm sure. In order to comprehend his driving forces, let's examine his career in depth. Robert Plant considered quitting music for a while after Led Zeppelin broke up in 1980 and seeking a job as a Rudolf Steiner educator. Plant decided to forego teacher training despite being accepted, instead focusing on his solo career with guitar. It was a tough choice, but he followed the advice and inspiration of Genesis bandmate Phil Collins and gave it a shot. In 1982, Plant released his debut album, Pictures at 11, and in 1983 he released The Principle of Moments, marking the beginning of his solo career. Great Log, In the Mood, and Little by Little were among the popular songs contained on these albums, which laid the groundwork for Plant's solo career. 3 solo albums by Plant and keyboardist-songwriter Phil Johnstone were released in the late 80s and early 90s. Now and Zen 1988, Manic Nirvana 1990, and Fate of Nations 1993. Albums like Tall Cool One and I Believe solidified his status as a legendary solo musician, showcasing his versatility. After Led Zeppelin broke up, Plant and Jimmy Page kept working together on different projects. In 1984, they founded the Honey Drippers. Their singles Sea of Love and Rockin' at Midnight from their EP were huge successes. Working together, Plant and Page accomplished more than they could have on their own. They were mutually supportive, and Plant even made an appearance at the 1988 Atlantic Records 40th anniversary concert, which was Page's solo endeavor and live performance. Plant was known for his love of performing alongside other famous musicians, and in 1992 he performed with Queen at Wembley Stadium as part of the Freddie Mercury tribute concert. He solidified his position as a rock legend with his renditions of Innuendo by Queen, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, and Kashmir and Thank You by Led Zeppelin. There was a prosperous and successful partnership between Jimmy Page and Robert F. From 1994 until 1998. No Quarter was their critically acclaimed album. Unleaded in 1994 by Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Their inventive instrumentation and fresh takes on Led Zeppelin songs cemented their return to the limelight as a performing duet, winning over listeners even more. One of their best performances was during their 1995 tour, which featured a spectacular appearance at the Glastonbury Festival. Plant resumed his solo career following the Walking into Clarksdale tour. That was when he was venturing into uncharted musical territory on his globe tours. He proved his versatility as an artist in 2007 with the Grammy-winning album Raising Sand, which he co-wrote with Alison Krauss. Plant has a guest appearance on Skip Spence's tribute album in 1999. This was due to his undying respect for the co-founder of Moby Grape and his involvement with the Afro-Celt sound system on the track Life Begin Again, both of which hinted at his continuing fascination with Welsh culture. Dreamland was released in 2002 by Robert Plant and Strange Sensation, his newly formed band. The album's assortment of blues and folk covers was winning at many fans. He carried on with his accomplishments from here. The 2005 album Mighty Rearranger by Plant and Strange Sensation included the original tracks, which were well received and nominated for 4 Grammys. In 2005, Plant, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones were honored with the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2006, they were also given the Polar Music Prize for their contributions as former members of Led Zeppelin. Plant regularly performed on tour with Strange from 2001 to 2007, continuing to delight fans with a blend of solo work and Led Zeppelin classics. When it came to Plant's music, it wasn't all about the typical tour. Absolutely not. His musical contributions were widely recognized when he performed at prestigious events such as Mali's Festival au Desert and New York's Benefit for Arthur Lee. Another jewel in his crown is his participation to tribute albums like the 2007 Fats Domino tribute CD. Tragedies and triumphs have both been part of Robert Plant's personal life. Carmen Jane, Carrack Pendragon, and Logan Romero were born to him and Maureen Wilson, whom he wed on November 9, 1968. Carrack, their 5-year-old son, tragically died from a stomach sickness while Led Zeppelin was touring the United States in 1977, shattering their bliss. As a heartfelt homage to Carrack, the song All My Love was co-written by John Paul Jones. Plant welcomed his second son, Jesse Lee, with Shirley Wilson, Maureen's sister, following his divorce with Maureen in August 1983. In spite of everything that was going on in his life, Plant never wavered in his devotion to his family or his music. Plant has showed a deep interest in Welsh history and has been quite interested in charitable initiatives outside of his musical pursuits. As evidence of his ties to the Welsh history, he gave generously to commission a bronze sculpture of Prince Owain Glyndwr. Plant's deep-seated gratitude for his heritage is evident in his efforts to cultural initiatives in Wales. Plant was made Commander of the Order of the British Empire, CBE, in the 2009 New Year Honours list in honor of his substantial contributions to music. The fact that Prince Charles bestowed the investiture onto him speaks volumes about his illustrious career in music. In addition, Plant was bestowed the esteemed title of third vice president by his cherished football club Wolverhampton Wanderers in August 2009. This position validated his long-standing devotion to the club, and he was overjoyed. Robert Plant and bluegrass superstar Alison Krauss worked together in 2007 and 2008 to create the iconic duet album Raising Sand. Composers such as Mel Tillis, Townes Van Zandt, and Tom Waits contributed to the album's eclectic mix of R&B, blues, folk, and country music, which was produced by T-Bone Burnett. Not only did Raising Sand garner widespread critical acclaim and economic success, but it also netted him a slew of Grammys, including Best Album and Best Record. After Raising Sand was a smashing success, Plant and Krauss embarked on a cross-continental tour, playing their original material as well as covers of Led Zeppelin songs. Their performances at renowned events such as Bonnaroo and the New Orleans Jazz Heritage Festival solidified their reputation as a formidable musical combo. With the release of Raise the Roof in 2021, Plant and Krauss were once again brought together. T-Bone Burnett served as the album's producer, and it had 12 tunes. Along with the record came a live, worldwide webcast performance from the Sound Emporium Studios in Nashville, marking their comeback to joint effort. Along with his work with Krauss, Plant explored new musical territory in 2010 when he formed the band Joy. Patty Griffin, Buddy Miller, and Daryl Scott were among the gifted musicians he recruited after resurrecting the name of his original band from the 60s. After releasing their self-titled album in 2010, they were nominated for Best Americana Album at the Grammys. Exciting crowds with their unusual blend of Americana and rock elements, Plant and the Band of Joy embarked on tours across the US and Europe. At the 2011 Big Chill Festival in Herefordshire, the band played their last set, marking the end of their musical tenure together. In 2012, at the height of his musical career, Robert Plant formed the sensational Space Shifters. In England, at the WOMAD Festival, the band debuted. It included guitarist Liam Skin Tyson, Justin Adams, John Baggett, and Billy Fuller, all of whom had previously been in Strange Sensation. At first, the band's distinctive lineup, which included Dave Smith and Joel DeCamara, was what made them famous. Patty Griffin was a special guest on a few of their earlier performances before she began promoting her album and going on tour. The live album Sensational Space Shifters was published by the Sensational Space Shifters in July 2012. There were cover versions of Strange Sensation and other songs by Led Zeppelin, as well as performances by Patty Griffin. The band's mesmerizing live performances and unique sound swiftly garnered them a devoted fan base. Lullaby and the Ceaseless Roar was published in 2014 by Robert Plant and the Amazing Space Shifters. This was the first studio album that Plant had recorded with his new band, and it was also his 10th solo album. Both Plant's daring personality and the band's combined skill were on full display on the album. It was a fusion of rock, folk, and global music styles. They were already well known as an impressive live act before their June 2014 appearance at the Glastonbury Extravaganza. Plant and the incredible Space Shifters embarked on a North American tour in the fall of 2014, right after the album was released. Audiences were captivated by their energetic presentations. For Record Store Day, the band issued a special 10-inch live EP called More Roar, continuing to highlight their rock sound. That year, 2015, during a New York City concert in September 2015, Plant dropped a hint that he and the phenomenal Space Shifters might be working on a new record. Plant headlined a memorial concert honoring American folk legend Lee Belly at the Kennedy Center in April 2015, further demonstrating the band's commitment. Working with Victor Krauss, Alison Krauss, and Buddy Miller was an incredible experience. A cover of Elbow's Blanket of Night was Plant's contribution to the British Red Cross's The Long Road compilation LP. This is when people all across the globe began to notice that he was actively involved in humanitarian and social causes. Plant performed on several dates in the Lampedusa Concerts for Refugees tour later that year, among other artists such as Steve Earle and Emmylou Harris. The event's only goal was to bring attention to educational programs and generate funding for them. After the release of his 11th solo album, Carry Fire, in October 2017, Plant's musical adventure with the incredible Space Shifters resumed with Refugees. At the 2018 UK Americana Honours and Awards, Plant was presented with the AMA Lifetime Achievement Award for his significant musical accomplishments. Even if he is famous, Plant stays humble and loyal to his roots. He finds constant motivation at his rural Worcestershire home of Shatterford, close to Boodley. He wants to give back to the places that have influenced him. Therefore, he backs local initiatives like the Community Buyout Plan to rescue the Bath music venue. In 2020, during the COVID-19 epidemic, Plant continued to show his kindness by contributing to the purchase of essential medical supplies. As evidence of his unwavering dedication to humanitarian causes, he made a donation to a modest clothing business in Kidderminster, England, with the intention of supporting initiatives to supply local hospitals with vital medical equipment. The lasting impact of Robert Plant goes far beyond his musical achievements. His emotionally charged concerts and unique singing technique have been an inspiration to musicians for decades. There is no way to quantify his impact on rock music. He was honored with awards including being named the Best Rock Vocalist by Planet Rock and getting the Q Awards Outstanding Contribution to Music Prize. The influence of Plant on the music industry is indisputable, and his songs are still loved by people all around the globe. Despite the fact that the music industry is always evolving, Plant is still a highly regarded personality whose legacy will be felt for years to come. This video has covered every aspect of his life. With any luck, you'll find it satisfactory.